If you've ever felt the pressure to hold it all together, keep pushing, keep performing, this is the episode you need to hear. This episode is extremely special. I just had my in real life launch party of the ROI of Peace. Welcome to the new podcast, to the new brand, to the new direction. It's not just about a pretty logo. It's about a message that the real return on investment is peace, and my tools to get you to have peace in your life, not just here and there, but investing in peace, invest in your success, and invest in every area of your life. When Rita and I at Reignite Media, she suggested, hey, I want you to do an in real life launch party. And I was like, okay. And I started to get really stressed. My brain started to want to explode. And we had talked about a bunch of ideas about what it would look like and how I could do this. And I kept coming back to, let's do it in a way that's enjoyable. And that's what she was saying too. She's like, you need to enjoy the process and you need to enjoy the event as well. As we were developing this, I was thinking, what really speaks to me? It's not necessarily going to a restaurant at night, being in a loud, noisy space. I know I can't connect with people in that way the best. And I know that nighttime is not the best time of day for me. So I kept thinking, okay, when could I do this launch party and when would it feel good? So I decided, I was like, what if it's a Friday in the morning? Like my peak time is like a 10 to 1. What if I do it during that time? How cool would that be? And then I had this thought of, with the new brand logo, it's in watercolors. I really love to give people experiences. I love to have experiences with my family, with my friends. So what if we do an experience where we're doing a watercolors workshop, bringing in a local artist to teach us, And Rita was like, oh my goodness, it'd be perfect. What if you have them submit a photo of their why or something meaningful to them, and then they could watercolors that? And I'm like, amazing. I was looking for venues and I was trying to find a good venue and nothing was quite fitting. And I thought, why don't I bring people to my home? It all started here in my home podcast studio. Why don't we just continue that? I love having people sit at my kitchen table, sit in my cozy couch, and really experience what it's like to have this real connection in a cozy, cushy, warm place. And so that's what started it all. The last few months, I've been thinking about this event, and I've been looking at my kitchen table. I was looking at the table, and I was picturing everybody who needed to be there, having a seat at the table, laughing, connecting, having a peaceful moment that's not hustle, that's not grind, that's not a busy monkey mind, just real connection, real peace. And that's exactly what happened. Every one of those chairs, the 8 chairs around my kitchen table, were filled with women who have such great energy, who have such great desire to bring about this purpose that's been placed on their heart, and they're doing the work to get there. And we had just the most incredible time. These women are leading companies, they're raising families, they're surviving real life storms, and still showing up with heart. And during this podcast panel, we talked about, what does peace look like? What does pressure feel like? And how do we relieve that? How do we get more presence into our life in a real way? It's real connection, honest, emotional, raw, and wildly inspiring. And I loved it so much, and I cannot wait to do it again. So this is your permission slip to ditch the pressure, to embrace the peace, and let's jump in. Welcome to the ROI of Peace podcast. I'm so excited we're here. I'm so excited that we're doing our first guest panel, and I can't wait to share these amazing women who are doing amazing things. Now, on the ROI of Peace podcast, we always start with this little game. It's called Pick Your Peace. So here's my app, and this is the interferers page. Now, this interferers page is the 12 interfering patterns that we have in our lives that sabotage us, that keep us down, And I decided to choose one today, was the perfectionist. If you can, take a breath in through your nose and exhale. In these few minutes, you're investing in peace, and that investment starts working right now. The perfectionist believes that flawlessness brings value, safety, and approval, but that's a lie. Your humanity is what makes you lovable, not your perfection. Let the story begin. There once was a woman who shaped clay every morning. Her hands were steady and skilled, but her heart never satisfied. Each bowl she made, she examined under the light, searching for what was wrong. She examined each bowl and found the weaknesses. A small wobble in the rim, a line that wasn't perfectly even, a tiny air bubble only she could see. Every time she set the bowl aside and began again. Her shelves filled half pieces, each almost perfect, but never enough. One day, another potter, an older woman whose hands were worn with wisdom, came to visit. She noticed a small bowl sitting off to the side, cracked and uneven. She picked it up, poured water into it, and set it into the sunlight. The water began to spill gently through the crack, catching the light as it fell. Across the floor, colors shimmered, pinks, golds, soft blues. The older woman smiled and said, "It's the cracks that let the light through. That's where the beauty lives." For a long moment, the potter just stared at the colors dancing across the floor. Then something inside of her softened. A breath she didn't know she was holding finally released. She walked to her shelf and picked up one of her imperfect bowls. This time she didn't see mistakes. She saw character. She traced the uneven lines with her fingertips, noticing how they caught the light, how they told the story of her hands, her care, her effort, her humanity. The more she looked, the more she realized. It was the very imperfections that made them beautiful. They were real. They were hers. They were enough. From that day on, she stopped discarding her bowls. Her shelves filled not with perfection, but with peace. Each piece became a quiet reminder that beauty isn't something we achieve, it's something we allow. Take another deep breath, exhale, and when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Good job investing in your peace. Way to go. Good job. Excellent. Okay, so where could I honor the beauty in my cracks, seeing them as proof of life instead of a failure?
I'm Monica Wayts, and my business is Little Bits of Mona, and I help people reconnect with their creativity through my signs, through workshops, and through custom designs. I have a sign in my studio that says perfectly imperfect because before I started selling my art, I couldn't get past that it had to be perfect. And now I've learned that through the flaws, that's where the beauty comes out. Even when I make two duplicate exact pieces, they're completely different because the process is what makes the art, not the end piece. It's not the perfection. It's not what you want styled on the wall. It's your heart, what you put into it, and the emotion.
I'm Shelby Mathews with Real Relief. I'm an emotion code, body code practitioner, and I also do frequency medicine. I'm really good at letting my imperfections show. I actually am a perfectionist, but I can't ever seem to let the perfection in me show. I let the imperfections show. And that is really what has drawn my clients to me because it's relatable. And it's our imperfections that actually let us connect and heal with others. So for me, I say let the imperfections show everywhere.
Hi, I'm Chloe Randolph with In Focus by Chloe. I'm a photographer and videographer. One of my issues with perfectionism even comes with editing photos and video and things of that nature. And what I've come to realize is that those imperfect moments are like the most beautiful ones when I'm just taking a photo of someone that just a tear falls at a certain moment, or they having a breakdown that just happened, or a connection where they just have a smile, or a baby just falls a little bit. And it's just, those are the most beautiful moments that I can capture. And I started to realize that it doesn't have to be, yes, I want the picture to be in focus, but really my business is about the moment being in focus.
Chloe, I love that you said that imperfection is art, really, and life is art. When we're looking at our businesses, right, and we're growing and expanding, how do we stop that perfectionistic monster that's like, you need to do this perfectly or get out, burn the whole thing down? And we've all experienced that because you're all laughing. Can we just go work at Target? Okay, I'm sick of this. How do you stop that thought and turn the tables on that?
I'm Stephanie Quade with Bliss Coaching and Healing. I am a vision and mindset coach, and I also do Reiki and sound healing. Courtney is my personal coach, and we have done a lot of work together over the past year. And so we've talked a lot about this in my own business. And I think for me,
I am a manifesting generator. So I am go, 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 and I want it to be perfect. And I want it to look this certain way. And I also was spending a lot of time looking at other people's businesses, and not realizing that like I'm my own person and this is my own journey and they're struggling too. I'm just looking at it from social media and going, well, theirs looks perfect. And we just launched my website and platform. And she knows because we went round and round about, I wanted it to be so perfect and it has to look like this. And I want it to look like this. And looking at other people's stuff, it was really affecting me. And finally she was like, you need to do this for you. Like, this is yours. It needs to, listen to your intuition and stop looking over there at somebody else's because it needs to be mine. And so I was like, but what about this? But what about this? Especially with social media, because we're seeing that everything looks perfect. People look perfect and their businesses look perfect, and it's not always like that. And so I think going with your intuition, what is it that you want for your own business and what feels right, instead of it being so much pressure to be perfect.
I am Sherwanna Livingston. I'm the founder of LLYP Studios. We help nonprofit founders to increase their visibility through brand development. I'm also passionate about helping women with identity alignment. And I believe that in order for you to build a brand, you have to have alignments. For me, I grew up in a household where the bar was set very, very high. So, like with grades, with performance, everything. As I got older, it's the same bar that I set for myself, and I got to the point where I realized that the more that I try to be perfect, the less I serve the people who are suffering, the people who need me. And so that's what kind of got me out of the mindset, because when I'm not showing up, when I'm not visible, when I'm not using my voice because I want to get it perfect, then somebody out there is suffering.
I'm Kim McClure, and I'm an image coach, and I work predominantly with women over 40 who are going through menopause. The thing that I have learned is, as I went through menopause, I lost myself. I would look in the mirror and I would think, I know better. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And so I think just learning to be me. And one thing that I teach that's very different through my image coaching is you've got to know you. You have got to know your style, personality. If you like a color and it doesn't look good on you, there's a reason that you like that color. And there's ways that we can incorporate it. So just getting yourself out of the way and remembering that you are created exactly the way God meant to make you.
I love that. I feel like sometimes the vision of what I'm supposed to do clouds the vision of what I'm really here to do. And I find that if I'm scrolling on Instagram too much, I find that if I'm like in a room and I'm comparing my growth with someone else's, because you guys know I only work part-time because of my health. And I'm like, oh, if I could work full-time during my resting time, I'm just like, you should be working, you should be doing this. And we beat ourselves up so much. So we're so much harder on ourselves than anyone else is. And with this brand relaunch, there's been a lot of work. There's been so much work of the website, so much work of really getting the new name of the ROI of Peace, working on the logo and all these things. And it took a lot of time. I've been working with my podcast strategist at Reignite Media since February. That is a long time. And this new direction of the business has been so beautiful, but good things take time. We talk a lot in the ROI of business of metrics, right? Of marketing, performance, sales, there's all these metric markers and tangible benchmarks. When you think of the ROI of peace, where in your life or business do you feel called to bring in more peace right now?
I feel like for me, like we talked about, when people look at my to-do list, they're like, what is going on? Like, it will literally I usually have like 5 items at the top for my business and 5 for personal, which I recommend to other people. But then there will be 75 other items on my list. And also clients that I have will have the same thing where it's like, and I'll have stuff around the house and I'm trying to keep up with the house and work a business. And I have a son with special needs who's autistic, who I take care of. And so I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. And so I think, and sometimes when I look at that list and I'm like, I'm okay, I'm a good person if I do all this. I'm loved if I get every piece of this done. And if I don't, I'm a failure. But I've really worked on it. Like, I've been working so hard on it. Feel like it's more of like a marathon than a sprint for me now. Whereas before I was like, we're not made to run ourselves into the ground, right? That's why we talk a lot about burnout, because as women, we're expected to do our whole to-do list. So I think for me, it's like just leaning into slowing down a little bit and giving myself permission to rest. She has inspired me a lot with that because I'm like, hey, look, if she can do this with MS, come on, you know? And so, yeah, it's just taking time to have quiet mornings, taking time for quiet walks. I've been having a lot of fun with friends and just stuff that normally I wouldn't have given myself permission to do. But now I'm doing it more and more now.
Well, as a Manny Gen, I like to do all the things. I have all the interests, and just think that I need to be more productive than I really need to be. It's like if I'm sitting still, I'm not being productive, and that's when I need to rest. That's when you need to lean into it. And so I actually stepped back from doing a lot of events this year. I've been very particular, and now that the quote unquote holiday season is coming up, it's like, oh, everybody's revving up for these events and I'm not. And it was a different feeling in my body. It was like accepting that, you know what, this is bringing me peace. And I just need to let it flow.
So I'm also a preacher's kid. So for me, a lot of what I currently do is wrapped around just my identity from childhood and my intellect. And so I really think the area that I need to call in more peace is in what I do and how I show up. I've been shifting into helping more women with identity alignment. And that is something that's more creative. It's not strategic and it flows a lot more from a place of being a vessel from God. And so that is something I resisted my whole life. As a preacher's kid, I was just like, I don't want to be that girl. I'm like, am I preaching? I'm not really preaching, but at the same time, you know, it's a very spiritual, it's a very creative thing, and it's more peaceful than just leading with strategy and intellect. So in business, on the brand strategy side, it's just all mind stuff. And so where I'm calling in more peace is just letting God flow through me to heal others.
I think that flow is what's so important about going with the flow of our business and our lives instead of trying to swim upstream. I think that there is so much greatness that can come when we go with the flow of the twists and turns of life and business, because there's always going to be twists and turns, right? There's always going to be different variants, parts of life and business. And that's the beauty of it. I look at nature and I think of nature has it right? Like the trees outside, they know what they're doing. They're no, we're going to get water, and they're not down on themselves because they didn't grow as much, or they're excited for the growth and for the beauty that comes with it. And so I look at nature in that way of how does it bring me more peace? How are you all bringing in more peace into your life right now?
One of the things that I am doing is I am taking my Sundays off. And it's funny because as a child, you did not do anything on Sunday except go to church. And so I resisted it. I mean, I have resisted it for many, many, many years. And God has a sense of humor. Let's just face it, okay? Because here I am sharing him online. And I'm like, okay, at 23, I think I said I would never do that. In a Bible study, we've been learning that the upside down way that Jesus operated. And I think getting that into my life of being upside down from what we are supposed to be doing, like running all the time. And so that has been my thing, is making sure that I have that time down.
I am bringing more peace into my life by letting go, which is not easy for me to do, but letting go of expectations, letting go of how it's supposed to look. And once I've been able to relax a little bit into that, it's amazing the opportunities that have come that were totally unexpected in so many different ways, and how that can actually bring peace because you're not so tense.
It's kind of funny because I'm in a similar situation as you, where I've just been over the past like 2 years just running to the Lord and just doing all of the things. And I was in church almost every single day during the week, and I've just been a disciple at my church and doing a lots of different things. I serve every Sunday, just about, because I'm a part of the audiovisual team. So it's just a lot of work. God has really just said, don't do so much for the kingdom that you miss the king. And I'm just like, okay. So I just really need to sit at the feet of Jesus right now and take a pause from a lot of the things that I've been doing. So this feels kind of like that confirmation of it's okay to rest. It's okay to, take those steps away from those things, because yes, you want to do the good work, but you also have to bring peace to yourself. And if you're always running like a Martha, at some point you're going to miss what you're really here to do. It's an uncomfortable place because I'm like, I feel like I should be doing way more right now. But just really being peace of just, taking a pause from certain things. I still have to do AVL, our audiovisual team. Like that's just not going to, I have to do that. But just taking less opportunities to do things and just be calm and paint and draw and just really just read my word and just have that time with.
That is really great for all our friends listening to. If you're curious about your human design, there'll be a link in the show notes to get that, to see what type you are. It helps you to know how you operate best. Like, what gifts do we bring to the table? And knowing that gives us so much peace that we're doing things in our way and not necessarily in someone else's way. And I feel like that taking things off of our list is so anti-business, like everybody's like, do this more, do this more. It's so noisy and confusing and it's so hard. But when I take things off my list, I notice how much better I feel about myself, for one, and how much better I feel about my business and the direction it goes into. Lately, I've been doing this really cool thing where I just put like a sticky note, just a little sticky note size. And I'm like, there's 3 or 4 things on there that I'm going to get done today. And if I don't, then I'll put the sticky note for later. I'll write on a new sticky note the thing I didn't get done. And then I toss the other sticky note away. And it's so freeing. We're not superhuman. We're not robots. We do need to sleep. We do need to eat, and we do need to have connection. And I think this has been so great. We did a beautiful painting party before this with Monica as our artist and she's leading us. It was so good. And we talked about how much presence is coming into our lives, how much joy that we're feeling. How do you bring in more presence into your life? Because there's so much noise and so much distraction. And we do feel like we're going all the time. How do you bring in that presence?
For me right now, I think it's just getting off of social media, because that is my biggest thing of you see all the things that you should be doing. And then I'm also realizing how much I'm scrolling when I could be watching something. Well, not watching something, but like when I could be, doing something that gives me more peace. I could be walking in nature. I could be doing other things instead of just scrolling. So I think right now that's just bringing more peace, the less that I'm consumed with the outside world and I'm shutting off the noise. I'm turning off the TV. I may watch something that is more like peaceful, like cooking shows that you mentioned earlier, but just really just shutting things out and just taking the time just to allow just the peace to come and just fold into my life. And the more that I'm in nature and less scrolling, the better I feel.
Man, I feel like I have 2 answers to that. First is I am just present with myself. I'm building a relationship with myself. Even when I'm just doing the small things, I could be putting on my makeup in the mirror, but I don't have on music. I am just like, what am I saying to myself? And I'm just present. I'm watching myself in the mirror and I'm thinking about what I'm saying to myself. And if I say something to myself, because you're always talking to yourself, whether you know it or not, you're always saying something. I start thinking about what I'm saying. And then how do I want to shift that? I look so beautiful right now. Oh, I love this color on me. So I do that. And then even same thing, if I'm in the bathtub, I'm just, romanticizing those moments with myself to bring in more presence with me. And then the second fold of that is just presence with God. So I just make sure that I always have that moment where I'm just talking to God. It doesn't have to always be that set apart quiet time, which I love that too, but I'm just learning that He's always there. So when I'm driving, I'm turning off music, I'm turning off podcasts. I love that stuff, but sometimes I just want to hear from Him or, if I'm having that moment with myself. That's how I bring in presence.
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what she said a little bit. For me, I have a morning ritual that I do every day. It is non-negotiable. My family knows it. And during that time, I feel like I have time with God, but I also journal. I work on like, what are my intentions for that day? And a lot of times I'll write about how I'm going to be present in whatever activity I'm going to do. So like today, I talked about connecting with the women here, because for me, I have a very busy mind. Some people would say I'm ADD, and I think I probably am, but I have to be because of that, I have monkey mind. I call it monkey mind. And I have to be, even in the moment, I have to be super present
and remind myself to stay present and not have all the monkey mind going. So in the morning, when I do my morning ritual, I do several different things. I do some meditation and I do some journaling. But in my journaling, I will write what's my intention for the day. And so, or what's my intention for the event? So, like if I have something for my kids and I'm going to a Thanksgiving feast with my son or whatever, instead of me being there and being like, oh, I've got a million things to do, I should be, or I should be on my phone doing my social media, or what did I not get done today? I'm like, how am I going to be present with him and the other special needs kids there and the other parents? And when I say it on paper and I go, okay, this is my intention, I think it's very helpful to write it down and know kind of how am I going to be present in my day.
I love that. Yeah, like there are certain things that we need to do. It's a need to bring presence into our life. And it's not something that we can do once a week or when the time is right or when we feel like it. Because once we get to the feel, we need to do this. Like it's a real need there. Burnout, we're done. Burn our whole lives down, and the frustration and the bitterness and all those feelings come in. What specific things do you do that are non-negotiables for that?
So I have a morning routine. I do morning pages. And so I just 3 pages, stream of consciousness. Everything gets out. People might call it brain dumping, but I have worked out so many problems through those pages. It's ineligible. You're just writing as fast as you can. You don't pick up your pen and it just gets all the things out so I can make room for my day. Meditation, quiet time, and some form of exercise, whether it's walking my dogs. I walk with neighborhood gals in the park or just even dancing around in my studio. Got to get that blood pumping.
Mine is the first thing I do in the morning is I go down and get in my easy chair, curl up with a blanket, even when it's 95 degrees outside, and then do my devotion and drink my cup of coffee and just try to have peace. And I find that days that I don't get to do that, when I'm like have to be out the door, I'm not as nice of a person. It's something that is non-negotiable for me. If
I have 2 things that are non-negotiable and they rotate. So I have 4 kids and I homeschool and I work and I do all the other stuff. So I don't have a lot of time for me. And one reason I got into what I do with emotion code and body code is because I had neglected myself as a young mom for so long and my needs were not getting met. And so, a lot of rage there, a lot unhappy mom. And I didn't realize where that was coming from. It's because I didn't get my needs met. So my one thing is I always make sure I get one need met. I don't have a lot of time, but I can get one need met. And that's going to depend on the day. And I usually do that in the morning because then it's just going to get done. And on the days where it's just too busy, my other non-negotiable, because it's still my need, is I do frequency medicine or frequencies to release my emotions when I can't sit down and do it myself. I rely on that to do it on the go.
That is really great. I have some of my non-negotiables are I take a walk every morning and getting outside, and it's just a 20-minute walk. It is magic. I just feel like I'm a new person. I can do this, And I also, one of my non-negotiables is throughout the day, I do like 2-minute peace resets, like taking 2 minutes of peace to reset my body, because either open an email or something will happen, or I'll feel like, why aren't you going fast enough? Like you should get more done, but whatever it is, I need to reset against that. And I need to come into the spirit of being who I really am meant to be. And that remembrance, I think, is something that we get to do over and over and over again in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. We get to remember because we're all here for a divine purpose. And every single one of us has been set here for this reason. Okay, last question for each of you. We've come together, we've had so much fun, and we connected with each other, which is so fun to do in real life. So what's one intention you're taking away from this experience today? Now, in my mastermind, we always do this question. We always close with, what's one thing that we want to come away with? What's one thing that has touched our heart that we want to change or live into even more? So we're going to pass that around. What's one intention that's come to your heart?
Hey, today has been so fun. Thank you so much for having all of us. I think for me, just sitting there painting, which I'm a big believer in play. So I talk to people a lot about that, but just watching all of y'all painting and us talking about it and being in that playfulness. I think an intention for me is to play more and also gather more with women in circles like this where we can do something like that and play or do a craft. Or we talked about chocolate making, doing cooking classes just by sitting there together. We fishing together. I mean, we talked about all these ways that we could get together and play. And so as women, we're so busy that we don't always seek out the community of women to go do playful things. Sometimes we do business things and we're going to network. But I think for me, I'm going to just play a lot in 2026.
I don't want to say ditto, but my word came up to mind was connection. And that's how we made that here, just getting to know each other over the paints. Just talking about, a little secret about ourselves or what we like to do or what our interests are. And so it's another way to get together.
So the word that came up for me is story. So just leaning into my story. There were so many questions asked about, what do you do outside of, business? And I'm like, oh my God, I have to talk about myself. I have to talk about other things. And I'm like, man, there are other things that I really like to do. Not only that, just with the painting, this is a picture of my daughters. We were in New Orleans. So just leaning into those moments, sharing more of who I am, more of my story. I'm going to take that away today.
Gathering is the word that came to mind because I have noticed how we as women have stopped getting together, and it is just so much fun. And we need to remember that because so many times it is in the networking realm and you've got to be on, and it's so much more relaxing to not be on. And that's one thing I love about what I do because I don't really have to be on it with the person. We just played, and I think doing more of that because I think women need that so much. We need each other so much, and we need to build each other up. And one of my missions is to be that woman that says, you're beautiful, and make it so that they can begin to believe in themselves and then pass it on. And if we can pass that down to our daughters and our nieces and all of that, it can make such a difference.
My word was connection too. Wherever I'm at, I've realized that I just go, 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 go and try to keep all the balls in the air, but that doesn't mean that I'm connecting. And so sitting down to paint and wondering, why am I not doing this with my daughter that loves to paint, And she's been bugging me and I'm like, we'll get there, but we haven't got there and I'm doing it with other people. So I need to go home and connect with her and do that. And just wherever I'm at, connection is what I need.
I'm a little out of the box. So mine was a phrase, but it was peace is productive. Because a lot of times I feel like I'm not being productive, but when I'm not doing anything that's on the task list of all the things, but being here and painting and connecting with people and beautiful women and just having the time to just do something that's relaxing and peaceful, it is productive. And it's something that just nurtures your soul and calms your mind, and it just brings the walls down. So I think that overall peace is productive. Yeah.
That's a mantra. That's a sticker. Peace is productive. We're doing a movement, people. This is amazing. Oh my goodness. This has been so good. And that's really like the playfulness, the connection. Those are all the things that I was really thinking about too, is like, there's been so many things on my list that I'm like, oh, I'll get to that one day. But I'm like, why not now? You know what? If I don't create the space for it, I am going to look back on my life and be like, wait, you were in charge of that, but you didn't. This has been all so fun and so wonderful to have you all. My first roundtable, I was kind of nervous. I'm a little sweaty. I was so excited to have you guys here. And thank you so much. And thank you so much, friends, for listening. We're so appreciate you being here. Make sure you share this episode to your stories, share it to your friends who are needing some more intention in their life, some more presence and some more peace. We love it. I read all the comments. And so I love hearing your comments on the podcast, on YouTube, and I'm just grateful for that we can be here together. So when peace is a strategy, success becomes sustainable. We'll see you in the next episode.